Darren stood in the control room of the mining outpost, listening to the storm hit the metal walls again and again. The night was loud, the wind was wild, and the workers were already tired from a long day. He was ready to shut down the systems and call it a night when the outer alarms suddenly began to scream. The sharp red lights flashed across the screens. Motion detected. Large. Fast. Unknown. Darren felt a chill run through his back. Nothing big usually moved near the outpost at this hour. The storm should have kept every creature deep inside the forest. He stepped closer to the screen, trying to see through the blurry rain. At first he thought it was just another false alarm. The forest sometimes triggered sensors when the wind shook the trees. But this time the shapes on the screen were too large and too steady. He zoomed in. Two massive figures walked slowly through the storm. Their shapes were tall, strong, and heavy. Their steps left deep marks in the mud. The glowing eyes made Darren freeze. He knew those eyes from old reports and dangerous warnings. Bark wolves? They were the deadliest wolves on this moon. Fast, strong, silent. No one had ever tamed them. No one had ever seen them walk toward humans without attacking. And now, two of them were heading straight for the outpost gate. Darren called the workers inside. "Everyone stay indoors," he said. "Do not go near the gate." The workers listened, but their fear filled the room. Some whispered that the wolves might break through the metal walls. Others said they should turn on the defense towers. But Darren lifted his hand. "Wait," he said softly. He watched the screen again. Something felt wrong. The wolves were not running. They were not hiding. They were not preparing to strike. They were moving slowly, almost tired. The male wolf's head hung low. The second wolf, larger and rounder, moved with painful steps. The female was pregnant. Very pregnant. Selka, the biologist on the night shift, came to his side. "This is unusual," she said. "They never come this close." Darren nodded. "They are not attacking." The wolves reached the gate and stopped. The male wolf looked up into the camera with glowing yellow eyes. Rain ran down his fur, and his breath came out as warm fog. He let out a deep, low sound, not a growl, not a warning. It was something softer, something almost like a plea. The female wolf trembled and collapsed onto the muddy ground. The room fell silent. Even the storm seemed quieter for a moment. Selka whispered, "They came for help." Darren knew she might be right. The female wolf did not look dangerous now. She looked weak, starving, and exhausted. The male wolf nudged her gently, trying to help her stand, but she couldn't move. He turned his head toward the gate again, as if hoping someone inside would understand. Darren felt something heavy in his chest. The wolves were strong, fierce, feared by every species in the sector. For one of them to lie helpless in front of a human building, something must have gone terribly wrong. He walked to the storage room and grabbed a flashlight. The workers stared at him. "You're not going out there?" one of them cried. Darren answered with calm eyes. If they wanted to attack, they would have done it already. Selka stepped forward. "Let me come with you." "No," Darren said gently. "Stay inside. If anything happens, shut the gate." He stepped out into the storm. The wind hit him like a wall, and the rain felt cold and sharp on his skin. He walked slowly toward the gate. The metal doors opened halfway, letting him slip through. As he stepped outside, everything felt bigger: the darkness, the forest, the two giant wolves in front of him. The male wolf lifted his head. His eyes glowed brighter now, watching Darren with something like hope mixed with fear. Darren kept his hands open and his voice soft. "It's okay. I'm not here to hurt you." The wolf stayed still. He moved closer, his boots sinking into the wet ground. The female wolf let out a low whine, a sound of pain. Darren knelt beside her, staying careful, not making sudden moves. Up close he could see how thin she was. Her ribs showed between the thick fur. She had not eaten for days. He looked up at the male wolf. "You brought her here because you want us to help." The male wolf lowered his head. Slowly. Respectfully. Darren reached into his pocket and tossed a small piece of dried food toward them, not to feed them fully but to show his intention. The male wolf sniffed it but didn't eat it. Instead, he nudged it toward the female, offering it to her. She tried to eat but was too weak to lift her head. Darren felt something shift inside him. He stood up and waved toward the gate. Selka and two workers stepped out with food containers and water packs. They moved slowly like Darren told them. The male wolf watched every movement, but he didn't growl or step forward. He stayed where he was, placing himself between the humans and the pregnant wolf, not as a threat but as a guardian. Darren knelt again and gently placed the water pack near the female's mouth. She sniffed it, then began to drink weakly. The male wolf closed his eyes for a moment as if relieved. The storm raged around them, But in that small space near the gate, something peaceful formed. Something new. Something rare. A bond. Darren looked at the wolves and whispered, "We will help you. You came to the right place." The male wolf stepped forward, lowering his head again. The gesture was clear. "Thank you." Darren did not touch him. He only nodded back. Behind him, the workers watched in stunned silence. None of them had ever seen Vark wolves behave like this. None of them ever expected to see fearsome predators walking toward humans not with danger, but with trust. And as Darren looked into their glowing eyes, he understood one thing. This night was the beginning of something much bigger than a simple rescue. The storm did not slow down the next morning. Heavy rain still washed over the forest, and thick fog covered the outpost like a blanket. But even with the noise of the wind, everyone inside could hear the soft, low sounds coming from the two wolves resting near the gate. Darren stood beside the window watching them closely. The female wolf lay on a dry mat the workers placed under a metal cover, and the male wolf stayed beside her, protective and alert. His eyes followed every movement near the gate, but his body stayed calm. He did not growl. He did not raise his fur. He simply watched, waiting for something. Selka walked up to Darren with a scanning device in her hands. "I checked the female again," she said. "She is very weak. She hasn't eaten in days." "I know," Darren said. "We gave her food last night but she didn't eat much." Selka sighed. "She needs more than food. She needs rest, safety and help with the birth. She is carrying at least 3 pups." Darren watched the female wolf's slow breathing. "Do you think she came to us for that?" Selka nodded. "She came because she had no choice." The workers gathered behind them, whispering in fear and curiosity. None of them had seen Vark wolves up close before. They were known as silent hunters, not animals who sought help from humans. It felt strange, unreal, almost unbelievable. Darren decided to step out again. This time, Selka insisted on going with him. He agreed. The wolves had already shown they were not hostile. They trusted Darren and maybe they would trust Selka too. The gate opened slowly. Water rushed past their boots as they stepped onto the muddy ground. The male wolf lifted his head immediately. His ears straightened and his eyes locked onto them. Darren stopped for a moment and lowered his hands to show he meant no harm. "It's us," he said calmly. "We want to help." The male wolf didn't move. His chest rose and fell with slow, controlled breaths. His fur was soaked from the rain and he looked tired but strong. Very strong. Selka knelt near the female wolf and gently scanned her. The scanner beeped softly. The male wolf watched her carefully, his muscles tense. Darren noticed and moved closer. "It's okay," Darren told him. "She is helping." The male wolf blinked once, slowly as if he understood. Selka finished scanning. "Her energy levels are low," she said. "She is hungry, dehydrated, and in early labor. If we don't help her soon, she may not make it." The male wolf let out a deep, soft sound. It wasn't a growl. It wasn't anger. It was something else. Fear, worry, helplessness. For a creature known as the deadliest predator on the moon, he now looked like a mate desperate to save the one he cared for. Darren turned to the workers at the gate. "Bring more food. Bring the warmed water packs." 2 workers hurried inside. Others stayed watching with wide eyes. Some still feared the wolves. Others were starting to see something different in them, something no one expected. A few minutes later, the workers brought out containers filled with soft food. Darren opened one and placed it close to the female wolf. She sniffed it weakly but still didn't eat. Darren sighed, unsure of what to try next. The male wolf moved. He stepped forward, nudged Darren's arm gently, and then nudged the food with his nose. It was a clear message. Help her eat. Darren picked up a small amount of the food and placed it near her mouth. The female wolf opened her eyes, tired and slow. She sniffed again and this time she licked the food. Then she took a small bite. The male wolf let out a low sound of relief. Selka smiled softly. "She trusts you both." They fed her slowly, giving her small bits of food so she wouldn't choke. With every few bites, her breathing steadied and her tail twitched weakly. It was not much but it was something. A small sign of strength returning. As they worked, a sudden vibration shook the ground. A part of the outpost behind them had collapsed. Shouts filled the air. Workers ran toward the broken section of the metal wall. Darren stood quickly, alarmed. "What happened?" "A cave-in," one worker shouted. 2 miners are trapped." Darren turned, ready to run toward the disaster, but before he could move, the male wolf stood up. His ears turned toward the sound. His body straightened. Without hesitation, he dashed toward the collapsed area. "Wait," a worker cried. But Darren raised his hand. Let him. The male wolf reached the broken part of the wall and sniffed the ground. He dug into the dirt and broken metal with strong claws, pushing heavy pieces aside like they were nothing. His movements were fast but careful. He didn't thrash wildly. He dug like he understood someone was alive underneath. Selka stared in shock. He knows. Darren nodded. He's helping. After a minute of digging, the male wolf lifted a metal sheet with his powerful jaws. Beneath it, 2 workers lay trapped but conscious. They looked terrified at first when they saw the wolf, but Darren rushed to them. You're safe, he said. He's helping us. The male wolf stepped back to give Darren space as he helped the workers crawl out. One miner looked up at the wolf with wide, trembling eyes. He saved us. Darren placed a hand on his shoulder. Yes, he did. When the male wolf returned to the female, he lowered his head beside her. She touched her nose to his, and they both let out a soft, almost musical sound, a private moment between them. Darren felt something warm spread through his chest. This wasn't just an animal. This wasn't just a predator. This was a partner in survival. The storm continued to roar around them, but something had changed. The wolves were still dangerous, powerful creatures. But now there was a bridge forming between species. A bridge built not with words but with actions and trust. Darren looked at the wolves and whispered, "We're going to get through this together." And for the first time the outpost workers felt more hope than fear. The medbay lights were warm and soft, but the air inside was full of worry. The female Vark wolf lay on a thick medical bed made from layered blankets and heat pads. Her breathing was slow, heavy, and uneven. Every rise and fall of her chest felt like a fragile struggle. The workers kept a respectful distance, unsure if being close to her was safe or dangerous. Darren stood near the doorway watching her quietly. The storm outside had finally weakened, leaving only a gentle rain tapping the roof. The outpost felt calmer, but the tension inside the medbay was still strong. The male wolf waited just outside the entrance. He paced the hallway again and again, his claws clicking softly against the metal floor. Every few steps he stopped and looked inside, checking on the female, then resumed pacing. His body was tired but he refused to rest. Ryan, the medic on duty, approached Darren while holding a glowing medical scanner. "She is stable for now," he said softly. "But she is still weak. Her body is starting early labor and it's too soon. We must help her or she might not make it through." Darren's jaw tightened. "What do we need?" Ryan hesitated. "We need her calm. And we need the male wolf to stay calm too. If he panics, this room won't be safe for anyone." Darren looked at the wolf pacing outside. "He trusts us," he said quietly. "He brought her here." Ryan nodded. "Then let's hope that trust holds." Selka entered the room next, carrying a data tablet loaded with notes. Her hair was messy, her clothes soaked from earlier rain, but her eyes were focused. "I studied the scans," she said. "We were wrong about them. They are not simple animals. Their brain structure is similar to early human civilizations. They understand emotions, teamwork, even cooperation." Darren wasn't surprised. He had already seen it in their eyes, in their actions, in the way the male wolf had saved the trapped workers without being asked. These were not mindless creatures. They were intelligent partners in survival. Selka placed her hand gently on the female wolf's side. "She is scared," she said softly. "Her body is reacting to stress. We must help her feel safe." The male wolf heard her words. His ears twitched. He stepped fully into the doorway, his huge form filling the entrance. Several workers flinched, but Darren walked toward him calmly. "It's okay," Darren said. "Come." The wolf hesitated for only a second before entering. His steps were slow, careful, as if he knew this place was fragile. He stopped beside the female wolf and lowered his head, touching his nose to hers. She made a weak hum in response. The sound carried emotion, pain mixed with comfort, fear mixed with love. Darren felt a tightness in his chest. These wolves were not what the galaxy believed they were. They were not deadly monsters. They were beings capable of deep bonds. Ryan took a deep breath and approached. "Darren," he whispered, "she responds better when you're close. She calms down. I think she trusts your presence." Darren swallowed. "Then I'll stay." He stepped closer to the bed. The female wolf's eyes opened slightly and she looked at him. Her gaze was weak but clear. She recognized him. She trusted him. Ryan began the procedure to ease her labor, using small injections and gentle pressure to help her breathing. Selka monitored the data tablet, making sure her vitals stayed steady. The male wolf stood like a silent guardian. Every time the female whimpered, he let out a soft sound of reassurance. Every time someone approached her, he leaned forward slightly, watching them closely. But he did not attack. He did not threaten. He only protected. Minutes turned into long, heavy hours. The medbay felt like a world holding its breath. The workers outside whispered updates to each other. Some paced nervously, others stayed quiet, listening for any sound. Finally, the female wolf's body tensed. Ryan stepped forward. It's starting. Darren stayed right beside her, his hand near the heat pad. The male wolf lowered his head beside his mate, touching her gently with his nose. Selka whispered, "She needs both of you to stay calm." The room filled with quiet but tense energy. The female wolf trembled, her body fighting between weakness and instinct. She let out a soft cry, and the male wolf responded immediately, humming a deep, calming sound. And then, after a painful moment, the first newborn pup arrived. Small, soft, wrapped in wet fur, letting out tiny chirps instead of growls. The female wolf let out a tired sigh. The male wolf stepped back, his eyes shining with something like hope mixed with fear. He waited for Darren's reaction. Darren smiled softly. "You did it," he whispered. The newborn pup made a small sound and stretched weakly. Ryan carefully cleaned the pup and placed it gently near the mother. She nuzzled it, weak but full of love. The male wolf made a low sound, one Darren had never heard before. It wasn't protective, wasn't threatening. It was happiness, pure and honest. Selka exhaled. "She only had one pup," she said. "But it's healthy. And she will recover." Relief washed through the room like a warm light. The workers cheered quietly outside. The storm had stopped, and now only the soft patter of rain remained. The male wolf lay down at last, placing his large body beside the bed. His eyes closed slowly, exhaustion finally catching up with him. For the first time since arriving at the outpost, he rested. Darren stood beside them, feeling the weight of what had happened. This night meant more than saving a life. It meant a bridge had been formed between species that were once enemies. A bond built not with words but with trust, fear, and survival. As the newborn pup curled beside its mother, Darren knew this bond would only grow stronger. And the galaxy would soon learn that humans, and Vark wolves, were far more connected than anyone ever imagined. A deep echo shook the broken alien station and Lyra froze. She did not know where the sound came from, but she felt it in her bones. Rian stepped in front of her at once, blocking the narrow hallway with his body. His eyes scanned the dark metal walls. He did not say anything, but she could see his jaw tighten. Something was wrong. Something dangerous was hiding in the shadows. Lyra felt her chest tighten. She had seen him fight before. She knew he was brave. But this time the danger felt different. It felt like something old, something that did not care about reason or peace. Rian lifted a small light stick and slowly moved forward. The hallway smelled like burnt wires and cold dust. It was quiet, too quiet. Even the broken station seemed to be holding its breath. As they walked, Lyra kept glancing at him. He walked calmly, but she could see tension in every small movement. His steps were soft, controlled. His fingers stayed near the device strapped to his arm, the strange human tool that could turn into a shield or a weapon or something else she still did not understand. She had seen him use it only once, but she remembered how it hummed with light when he activated it. Suddenly the floor under them vibrated again. This time it was sharper, more focused, like a warning. Rian raised his hand and Lyra stopped. He crouched and touched the floor with his fingers. A faint pulse of heat spread beneath the metal plates. He looked at her with a serious expression. "It's close," he whispered. "What is close?" she asked softly. He shook his head. "Not sure yet. But it's watching us." Her heart dropped. She knew many creatures in the galaxy hunted with sound or smell. But the way he said it, watching, felt different. It felt intelligent. They moved again, slower this time. The hallway opened into a large storage bay. Containers were scattered everywhere. Some were broken. Some were melted. Something violent happened here long before they arrived. Rian stepped forward to clear a path. Lyra stayed behind him, scanning the shadows between the crates. A cold breeze passed through the bay even though the room was sealed. The lights flickered. Lyra felt a strange pressure on her mind, like someone was trying to read her thoughts. She gasped. Rian turned instantly. "What happened?" I felt something," she whispered. "Something pushed into my mind." Rian narrowed his eyes and pulled her closer to him. Lyra knew humans were immune to most telepathic contact. Maybe that made him the only safe one here. A metallic screech tore through the air. Rian moved so fast she barely saw him. He grabbed her wrist and pulled her behind a stack of metal crates. The screech came again, closer this time. Lyra felt her skin crawl. She peeked around the crate for just a second, and froze. A dark shape crawled along the ceiling. Its skin was thin and stretched, its limbs too long, its eyes glowing faintly with a pale green light. It moved with slow, careful motions like a predator tasting the air. Lyra covered her mouth with her hand. She recognized the creature from old records. A mind stalker. An ancient species believed to be extinct. They did not kill for food. They killed for silence. They fed on thoughts, on memories, on the fear of their prey. Rian whispered, "Stay down." But she saw something in the creature's eyes. Was watching Rian. Not her. Him. Like it sensed something strange in him, something that did not belong to normal humans. The creature dropped from the ceiling and landed with a heavy thud. Rian activated his arm device. Light expanded into a shield shaped like a half-circle. The creature struck the shield with one sharp limb. The sound echoed through the room. Lyra pressed against the crate, trembling. She wanted to move, but fear glued her to the floor. Rian did not step back. He stood firm, pushing the shield forward and forcing the creature away. It shrieked and leaped sideways. Its limbs blurred with speed. But Rian turned with it, blocking again. Light flared each time they collided. Lyra watched in shock. She knew humans were strong, but the way Rian fought felt unnatural. His movements felt sharper, faster, almost like he could predict the creature's attacks. Then she noticed something. The creature's eyes were glowing brighter. It was trying to read Rian's mind. But every time it tried, its head jerked back as if something inside him pushed it away. Rian stepped forward and slammed the shield into the creature's chest. It flew back and crashed into a crate. Before it could rise again, Rian's shield changed shape. The light twisted, curved, and turned into a blade. He took one deep breath and charged. The creature lunged at the same time. The clash lit the room with bright sparks. When the light faded, the creature lay still on the floor. Rian stood over it, chest rising and falling as he tried to catch his breath. The blade dissolved back into the arm device. Lyra slowly stood up and walked toward him. Her steps were shaky. Her voice was soft when she spoke. "You are not like normal humans, are you?" Rian did not answer right away. He stared at the dead creature, thinking. Then he looked at her. There was no fear in his eyes, only a quiet honesty. "No," he said. "I don't think I am." Lyra felt the cold room fade around her. She realized something she had not understood before. This hidden threat was not only the creature that attacked them. The true hidden threat was the secret inside Rian, the secret he did not fully understand either. And now they were both in danger because of it. She stepped closer, her voice barely a whisper. "Then we need to survive together. Whatever is coming next, we face it side by side." Rian nodded. And somewhere deep inside the station, something else woke up. The metal walls of the broken station echoed with a slow, steady thrum, like a giant creature waking from a long sleep. Rian felt the vibration through his boots. Lyra felt it through her bones. Whatever had been sleeping deep inside the station was now awake, and it was moving toward them. Rian placed himself between her and the dark hallway ahead. Even after the fight with the Mind Stalker, he did not rest. His eyes stayed sharp, focused, like he expected danger at any second. Lyra watched him with worry. His strange strength helped them survive, but she knew it also made them a target. They continued forward, trying to reach the station's central chamber. The air grew warmer. Lights flickered more often. Lyra noticed symbols on the walls, old symbols from her people's past. She touched one with her fingers. "This station is older than my kingdom," she whispered. "Something ancient built this." Rian gave a small nod. "And something ancient is still here." They moved faster. As they reached the central chamber, the door slid open with a heavy groan. The room was huge. A glowing sphere floated in the center, held by invisible energy. Lines of light spread across the floor like roots. Lyra gasped. She had heard stories of this. An old guardian core, a machine that protected knowledge from forgotten times. But something was wrong. The sphere flickered like a dying star. Dark cracks spread across its surface. A low rumble shook the chamber. "It is unstable," Lyra said. "If it breaks, the whole station will fall apart." Before Rian could answer, a voice echoed through the chamber. It was deep, metallic, and felt like it came from every direction. "Human anomaly detected." Rian's heart jumped. Lyra stepped closer to him. The sphere brightened, and a tall holographic figure appeared beside it. It looked humanoid but made of shifting light. Its eyes glowed bright blue. "Human with altered core energy," the hologram said. Identify yourself. Rian straightened his shoulders. My name is Rian. I don't know what altered core energy means. The hologram's eyes narrowed. You carry energy not found in standard human biology. You are marked by an unknown source. Lyra felt fear hit her again, but she stayed beside him. He saved my life, she said firmly. He is not a threat. The hologram paused for a long moment, looking between them. Then the lights in the chamber dimmed as the Guardian core cracked louder. The hologram looked back at the sphere with clear alarm. Warning. Core collapse begins. All life forms must evacuate. Rian shook his head. There must be a way to stabilize it. There is, the hologram said. But the process requires two living energy signatures. One must carry high natural resonance. The other must carry strong core energy. Lyra looked at Rian. Rian looked at Lyra. The hologram continued, if the two of you join your energy to the core, the collapse can be reversed. But it will bind your energies together. Permanently. Lyra felt her breath catch. Permanently. She did not know what it meant for her life, her people, her future. But she knew one thing. If they did nothing, everyone on this station would die. And whatever ancient knowledge lived here would be lost forever. Rian stepped closer to her, lowering his voice. You do not have to do this. She shook her head. We do this together. We survive together. Rian's expression softened. He gently took her hand. They walked toward the glowing sphere. The hologram guided them. Lyra placed her hand on one side of the core. Rian placed his on the other. The moment both hands touched the surface, the sphere blazed with bright light. A shockwave pulsed through the room. Their minds filled with warmth, pressure, and a strange harmony that wrapped around them like a soft thread. Lyra felt Rian's presence in her mind for a brief moment, steady, calm, powerful. Rian felt her presence too, bright, warm, and full of hope. Their energies blended like two currents meeting in the same river. The cracks in the sphere began to heal. The light stabilized. The rumbling stopped. When the light faded, both of them stepped back, breathing hard. The hologram looked at them with new eyes as if something important had changed. Energy bond complete, it said. Stabilization successful. You have formed a dual-core link. Such a link is rare and powerful. You now share resonance. Lyra felt a warm pulse in her chest. She knew it came from the bond. Rian felt the same warmth, steady and calm. The hologram continued, the two of you are now recognized as allies of the ancient guardians. Your bond gives you authority within this station and beyond it. Lyra blinked. Authority? Yes. A new alliance is formed. The hologram bowed its head slightly, a gesture of respect they did not expect. Rian exchanged a surprised look with her. We are allies now, he said softly. Lyra smiled. Not only allies. Something more. Suddenly the entire chamber shifted. Panels slid open, revealing star maps, lost data, hidden technology. The station awakened fully, recognizing them as new protectors. The hologram spoke one last time. Your journey has just begun. The galaxy is changing. And your bond will shape what comes next. Rian squeezed Lyra's hand. Lyra squeezed back. Together, they stepped forward into the newly awakened world of ancient knowledge. No longer running, no longer hiding, but forming a new path that connected human strength with alien wisdom. A new alliance was born.